This is Platform Media International, PMI, Political Arena. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizo, presenting. In the quest for justice around the globe, many people have defined what is justice. But there are some school of thought that says justice have no coloration or definition. As a matter of fact, I have an expert in the studio today to talk about what global justice is supposed to be. And as a matter of fact, he has written a book from the local, titled From the Local to the Global, Theories and Key Issue in Global Justice. I'm talking about Dr. Charles Quist Adade. Dr. Adade, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. We met before in this program, but let me quickly remind viewers of your intimidating profile.
I hope it doesn't intimidate anybody.
Dr. Quist Adade is a member of the sociology department of Kwantlen Polytechnic University based in British Columbia, Canada. And before that, he's the founder and convener of Kwame Nkrumah International Conference Series. And Dr. Quist Adade has been cited twice in the Canadian premier magazine called Maclean as one of the best 10 professors of sociology in Canada.
No, sorry, not in Canada. I wish.
University of Windsor.
Of the University of Windsor.
In Windsor, Windsor, yes. Thank you. You see how modest the man is. Otherwise, people would have accepted that such an acclaim. Yes, Maclean has claimed that he's one of the best 5 professors of sociology in University of Windsor. Dr. Quist Adade. The reason why we brought you here today is that you've written a book that's addressing social justice globally. And from what I've gathered from this, you are advocating or postulating that justice has no geographical boundary. Is that the case?
Yes, it is. And also, justice is both local and global. And I take a cue from the saying of the late Martin Luther King Jr., who said that injustice anywhere is an assault to justice everywhere.
Yes.
Which means that when we abuse the human rights of people in our own societies, we also assault the human rights of people in other parts of the world.
Okay.
And there are certain things that we do, our actions and inactions, which we may not even think of as having ramifications beyond our immediate shores, yes, and our countries. But they do have, indeed, ramifications across the globe. Let's take what happened in 2011, right, when the Bush administration decided, all right, to go after Osama bin Laden, all right? Many Americans, because of course the dastardly thing that Osama bin Laden and the terrorists did in America, many Americans and indeed some people around the world were cheering the Bush administration to go after Osama bin Laden. And that did happen. They invaded Afghanistan and then, of course, Iraq. And the world has not known peace since then. Everybody, and in every corner of the globe has been affected in one way or the other by that very singular act. So justice, as I said earlier on, is both local and global. They are interconnected.
Okay.
And as the Ghanaian saying goes, it takes the entire village, all right, to raise a child. And what this means is that the teaching of peace, the teaching of non-violence, is not an act of an individual or an act of one particular country, but a collective global effort. And anyone who tries to push for war, push for injustice, push for violence, that person needs to be discouraged. both locally and globally. Anyone who sells, who inflames the passions of war should be discouraged. Otherwise, at the end of the day, we all are going to be the victims.
Okay. You laid the foundation. This book wouldn't have come at a better time than this time of all times. Of course, the viewers are all aware of what's going on globally. It used to be globalization. Now it's going to be something like compartmentalization, kind of protectionism, so to say.
Yes.
And we're surprised that this book is coming at a time that most Western powers want to go it alone. And the definition of Brexit,
right.
there's Donald Trump. In Italy, the prime minister just resigned because he was fighting for Europe, and Italy want to go it alone. They want to be a singular aspect of Europe. Now, the definition of, you are saying that what happens to the eye will happen to the nose. So in the administration of justice in the Western world, it will go over to other countries. What has started in England or in UK is going around the world. So in doing all this political movement, people's life will be affected. And the Western power has been the people who are advocating for this, but it's a turnaround now. Will justice, global justice, will it not be difficult to effect now in this, given the political spectrum right now?
We have to remember that no one is an island unto himself or herself, to quote the British poet John Donne. And all this push for, nationalism, national exclusivism, isolationism would not get anywhere, because when the problems are created at one spot of the globe, they will, by all means, thanks to the globalization that they are going against now, will come back to bite. So what is needed is just a collective, concerted effort to try to temper some of the excesses of globalization. All right. In other words, to tame globalization in a way that it benefits the majority of people. Globalization has its, good parts and bad parts. In other words, globalization has merits and demerits.
Okay.
And we can't just throw the baby in the bathtub. All that we have to do is to come out with a program and projects that help to tap and exploit the benefits of globalization to the benefits of the majority of people. But what the isolationists are trying to do is to say that we can go it alone, let's look after our own, and we don't care about other people. Those people one day will come back knocking, and there is no way you can stop them, because they will be coming, thanks to the scientific technological revolution, thanks to the fact that we are interconnected. We live in a global village, Marshall McLuhan's global village. We can't live in isolation. It's impossible.
Okay. It is an irony, Dr. Adabe,
Yes.
that just as early as the 19th century, Europe kind of invaded Africa. Mm-hmm. They colonized Africa, and even it's just in the early 60s that African countries became independent, right?
Yes.
And now, 50 years down the road, they are saying, no, we don't want that. And in these two scenarios, Africans seems to be the loser.
Yes, Africans, in fact, people of what we call the global south are the receiving end of all this. As you said, yes, they came to Africa. All right, took our resources. They didn't ask for visas. They were not. They were just came.
And as a matter of fact, they were called expatriates. They were called explorers.
Exactly, and then we are called immigrants.
Immigrants,
and all that. But what is happening, and some of these isolationists need to understand, is that they cannot close the gates. The gates have already been opened, all right? They cannot close it. No matter what, people will still come unless they put in place programs and projects that will stem the tide. In other words, they should create a Marshall Plan for Africa, I must say, for the global south. If they want to stop people from coming, then they must come out with a program, with a project that will invest in human resources in the global south. Otherwise, whatever they do is not going to help. People will still come.
Okay.
They'll find ways and means to come.
We'll come back to that world issue.
Yes.
In justice, who is defining justice? Is it the majority? What is justice?
Justice is being fair to everybody. Justice is where, everyone is allowed to, live freely, express his or her opinion freely, access valued resources in society, like access that will help them to, for their sustenance, food, shelter, clothing, and also the ability to assemble, speak without let or hindrance.
But what I've discovered in the contemporary world,
Yeah.
who is defining is justice has become a relative issue.
Yes.
What is called justice in the West, sometimes it's not what justice is all about in the developing countries.
In fact,
And this definition is kind of misinterpreted.
yes.
In other words.
Yes, justice in this sense is a universal concept. Food, shelter, clothing, life. These are, ideals and circumstances that cut across boundaries, cultures, countries, societies. And so we can say there is a Western as opposed to non-Western justice. Justice is global. Life is life. Violence is violence, no matter the form. All right? So we should stop trying to dichotomize, try to separate Western and non-Western justice. Of course, there are certain things that are, local. But as I said, for example, people talk about, let's say, genital mutilation, right? Okay, and it's said to be a cultural thing, but it is something that affects women. Women's rights are not just women's rights; they are human rights. So it's not just an African or third world or global south issue. It is a global issue, and we should stop. Once again, we should stop trying to compartmentalize and dichotomize Western and non-Western, justice. Justice is global.
Okay. Now let's go back to the world scene. Donald Trump in few days will be sworn in as the president of the United States of America. Part of his electionary campaign is that we'll build a wall. Mm-hmm. We'll stop immigrants into America. What do you think? Given what you have said here, you are saying that won't work. What if that is enforced?
If it is enforced, people will still come to America. There are ways for people to come to America. They don't just come by going through the bushes, all right? They can fly. There will be ways to fly, all right? There are people in America who would organize to invite them to come. So the criteria that will be put in place, people will find ways to meet them and they will come. And what we have to remember is that America is vast enough and has enough resources to accommodate as many people as possible. And that is people, when the people come to America, they are not just lazy hang-ons. They will come and work and pay taxes. They would contribute to America. So, and this should go to all countries. It takes so many talents. Every person, every work requires a skill. Yeah. All right? And every work contributes to the total contribution of society. So we should not be doing this, to people and preventing them from coming to a particular place when they are being persecuted. Sometimes they're being persecuted. Sometimes they're running away from economic persecution, political persecution. They come into places where they can have safe havens, for themselves and for their families.
Okay, let's talk about your book, From Local to the Global, Theories and Key Issues in Global Justice. Where is this book available? Can we get it online, in bookshop?
Yes, you can simply Google Sense Publishing. Sense Publishing is in the Netherlands. So you Google Sense Publishing and then you type my name in, that is Charles Quist Adade, and then you find the book there with the information there. The paperback is $43, and I think the hardback is about $60.
So it's not available in university bookshop, right?
Not yet. I'm actually we ordering some for the Quantum Polytechnic University bookstore for my classes next semester, but they're not in bookstores yet, but you can easily purchase a copy online at the Sense Publishing website.
Great. Dr. Quist Adade, apart from being a renowned teacher, renowned author, you are the head or the president of Ghanaian community in British Columbia, right?
Yes, I am.
And
yes.
That's waxing stronger under you. Let's let everyone know that apart from being in academics, you're also in front of organizing our Black African community in British Columbia.
Yeah, if I may take the opportunity to invite you and your viewers to our end of year and Christmas celebrations on the 17th of this month at the Executive Plaza in Coquitlam at 7 p.m. And the ticket is $45. For members, paid up members is $35. For a family, you get a discount, and that is for a family of 5 is $40. So please come and support us. Part of the proceeds will go to our youth scholarship scheme.
Great.
So please come and support a worthy cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Quist Adade. I have always known that you are one of the very, very prime motivators and facilitators of academics in British Columbia. I'm a Black African community, and I want to quickly thank you for that. I hope next time we invite you to the studio, you'll be here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
This is a very good resource for academics, from the local to the global, theories and key issues in global justice by Dr. Charles Quist Adade. You can find that online by Sense Publishers. And with that, I say keep reading and keep watching PMI. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode. Wishing you a happy good night.